Jody Hardesty with Empowered Heart Connections. If you are traveling this summer, like many of us are, and you have children, you might want to talk with your partner about what that's going to look like. Sometimes in relationships, people who are traveling with children tend to maybe have one person doing the majority of the responsibilities, and then one person is having this awesome vacation and the other person's like pulling their hair out. And this is often just personality differences. Is one person may be an overdoer and the other one may be sitting back and letting the other person overdo it. Or sometimes the person who's doing all the work may have some issues around control and they like things a certain way, and so their partners learn to just let them do things. So this can be challenging with couples, but it's important, especially if you are that person that really likes to have things a certain way and likes that structure, to make sure that you're open to other possibilities and other ways that your partner might be able to help you out. So you don't have to have all the responsibilities whenever you're traveling and trying to enjoy yourself. And this may look like you letting go a little bit of what maybe things have to look like or what you really want them to look like when your partner's in charge of the parenting. So this happens a lot with couples is, I want you to parent the way I parent, rather than I want you to parent, period. And many of us have to let go of that. My husband and I have struggled with this too. Sometimes we have to take turns having parenting days, especially if we're trying to parent in totally opposite ways, which sometimes we do. And you have to learn to find that balance, especially when you're traveling, is to maybe make a plan, maybe discuss with your partner about what you want done, especially if you feel like sometimes these things don't get done if you don't take care of them. And your family might respond well to having some lists. Even your children can help out with this if you are wanting to have them pack a certain series of items, like don't forget your toothbrush, don't just fill your suitcase with Cheetos and toys. We need to have some clothes to wear too, right? But if you specify for them, if you make a list for your partner and for your children, and I know this sounds tedious, it's like it just adds more to your plate. However, if you're able to do this and delegate some responsibilities, not only are you empowering them to take care of these things, but you're also removing some of these chores from your own plate. So give yourself a little break, take a little deep breath, and just recognize what is necessary, what's important, and what's a preference. So your kids probably need to pack their toothbrush. However, if you're not going to the woods, you could pick one up at a store if you really needed to. But they really do need underwear. And they really do need clothes. So those are some of those priority things. And they may, depending on their age, they may need specifications. Hey, we're going to be traveling for 3 days. We'll be gone. Or for 4 days, or whatever the number is. And you're going to need to pack 4 outfits, right? Or you're going to be wearing one day, but then you'll need one for each of those other 3 days. So kids are going to need specifics for that. And you're going to need some pajamas, and you're going to need underwear and socks and whatever else they need, especially if there are those kids that really need their special toy, or maybe a sleep mask or some earplugs or whatever it is that helps them get through the night easier, that those things are going to be added to that list. And this is not a list that you have to write every time. This can be a list that you can keep in a folder somewhere that you can pull out, and you can change the number of days depending on where you're traveling. So you don't have to work that hard. But making sure that if you are getting to that point where you're feeling like, I'm doing everything and my partner's not helping out, that you say it. Because if you're typically the one who does these things, and you're the one that takes the responsibility for a lot of that stuff a lot of the times at home, they're probably going to let you do it. So you have to be specific, and we need to really work on requesting what we need. So if you're feeling burnt out, before you get to the point where you're going to lose your temper or lose your cool or even just be less nice, it's time to ask for some support from your partner. Is, hey, having a little stress around all of the work that has to be done. Can you maybe help me out with dinner time? I'd love it if you would talk to the kids about getting their teeth brushed and getting ready for bed and maybe read them a book before bedtime so I can go take a bath or just go for a walk and get some fresh air and have some alone time. And I find with these situations, whenever one person is doing a lot of the responsibilities, it's again often because they're struggling with going, what do I need? How can I take care of myself? How can I help myself with my own needs? So it's helpful to take some time and just take a deep breath and just check in with yourself is what do I need? What do I want? What would be helpful for me? And again, letting go of some of the preferences that may be just personal preferences rather than necessities. Like the kids don't have to necessarily brush their teeth perfectly every night, right? If you have them sing whatever that song is that they sing in order to be brushing your teeth for 2 minutes or however long it is, and you do that every night, and if your partner doesn't do that, you pull your hair out, obviously not literally, but you feel stressed out about it, then you might want to reel it in a little bit, because you know what? 1 or 2 nights when they're not doing that perfect brush time is not going to really be the end of the world, right? They're probably going to have still teeth in their mouth. So letting yourself relax a little bit about those things that are maybe kind of perfectionism qualities that keep you stuck being the one who has to make all the decisions, being the one that has to have all of the structure and all of the rules. So letting it be good enough when your partner steps up and helps out, and appreciating and acknowledging them when they do. Because I found in many of these situations, it's not just that the other person is lazy or doesn't care, but that they've kind of been corrected or maybe critiqued so much that they just go, okay, it's all you. You can do it all, just watch. And may have some struggles with maybe feeling confident enough to step up and do it in the way that they know that you would prefer it. So recognizing that some of this, it could just be, and it could absolutely be that your partner maybe just is a little more lackadaisical and doesn't see those things. And that's okay too. These are all things that can be addressed and are really important to have conversations about. Because if you don't talk about it, they probably won't know it. And this is another challenge that couples have is, my partner should know that I need the kids to brush their teeth for approximately 2 minutes or I'm going to be really unhappy, right? My partner should know that it's bedtime and the kids need to do certain things before bedtime in order to get ready for bed. Well, maybe they do, but they also know that you're probably going to do it, so they don't really have to. So give yourself a little bit of a break and let things go that don't matter. And communicate with your partner when you need help, especially if you are finding that you're not having any alone time or any fun time on your vacation when you're traveling, to really make sure that you take that time to figure out what it would look like if you felt like your vacation was the ideal vision of what you want it to be. What would feel good to you? And sometimes I find people struggle, or Uber caretakers like this, they struggle to really know what it would be like for themselves to really have an enjoyable time. What would that look like if I wasn't taking care of the kids, if I wasn't taking care of my partner, if I wasn't doing all of the things that I feel like I have to do because they're responsibilities? How would I step back and give some responsibility to other people? The other thing is kids can be really helpful. Depending on what age they are, obviously. Infants need a lot of our time and attention, and you're going to need a lot of help from your partner in that time. But if they're older, they can do little things that can entertain them and can actually be helpful, like put away their toys or like packing. They're not going to do it magnificently. They're probably going to wad things up and shove it in their suitcase, but it'll be in there, and that's really all that matters. If it's wrinkly, they'll live. Right? So letting go of those little details that are maybe not so life-altering, but also can be helpful and empowering to your kids is, how can your kids help out? so that they feel competent and confident? And what does it feel like to you to step back and watch them to do things in a successful way? What's that like for you, and what does that bring up for you? Those are some interesting things to explore. And for your partner, if you are the partner that's maybe not stepping up as much, maybe lets your partner do the responsibilities, see what you can do. Ask what you can do to help so that your partner doesn't feel burnt out. So to help each other out with this is that we remember we're on the same team when we're in couples, especially when we're parents. We need all the help we can get from each other because it's a delightful experience being a parent, but it's also a lot of work. And it's much more fun if we can make it enjoyable for each other because we're supporting each other and encouraging each other to do what they need to do to take care of themselves. All right, thank you so much for watching. I know it can be challenging having to step back and notice what we're doing, or notice what we can let go of, or notice how we can help out a little more if we are maybe not paying attention to those things. But it can be so helpful to our partners and to our relationship to make sure that we're finding ways to connect, especially if we're traveling and going to be stuck in a small, probably area together for a long time. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope this has been helpful.